Cruise lines are investing hundreds of millions into private islands and the beach clubs in the Bahamas and the Caribbean. And it's changing where your cruise goes and how much you'll pay once you get there. Some people love it. They say no stress, no safety concerns, everything is predictable and easy. Others hate it as a manufactured resort day that benefits cruise lines financially while keeping you from the authentic local culture and real travel experiences. So who's right? Well, let's discuss both sides, and I'll show you some things that you might not even have thought about to help you choose which one is better for you. Now, I'm Kat, and I share cruise tips to help you get the most out of your cruise vacation. There are two really passionate camps out there, and I see this debate all the time when people call our travel agency and they're asking for help helping them pick the right itinerary for their cruise. And they say, well, Kat, this cruise has a private island stop, and this one is only traditional ports. How do I choose? Which one is better? I always say there's not one size fits all answer, but of course you still have to pick, right? And the key is that it's not really about which one is better. There's one thing that changes everything, and most people don't really consider it. So let me break down both sides for you. And at the end, kind of give you a step-by-step framework for how do you choose the right itinerary for you. And if you still need help after that, by the way, you can always reach out to us, and I'll drop a link in the description how to get hold of us. So first of all, here is what's happening right now. And this can be rapid fire, not a news roundup. But Carnival Celebration Key just opened up recently, a couple months ago. It plans to scale from roughly 2 million up to 4 million guests per year, with piers designed for multiple mega ships all at once. And I just visited Celebration Key, by the way, last month, so I will have a full standalone review coming soon. So if you want to see it, make sure subscribe, hit that notification bell. Royal Caribbean, they've been adding new experiences to Perfect Day at Coco Cay, including the Hideaway Beach, which is a paid premium area. They're also expanding with the new beach clubs. Nassau opened recently. I have a video review on my channel. Cozumel and Santorini are coming soon. Then you have Half Moon Cay, which is getting a real pier, which means no more tendering headaches and fewer weather cancellations. So that's kind of the overall view of what is happening on these private islands. So let's start with the Team Private Island. And there are real advantages here. First, convenience and safety. You step off the ship, you're in a controlled environment. You do have lifeguards, you have shade, bathrooms, first aid, no extra logistics. For families or multi-generational groups, that's huge. Predictable day, predictable spend. You're not negotiating taxis, hoping that the beach is clean, or guessing where to eat. I've been to private islands on all major cruise lines, and they mostly have a beach access. Some of them will have the big pools. They'll have quiet areas. They have active areas without needing to pay anything else unless you want cabanas or water park access. And all of them are clean, safe, and easy. And we've been to all of them combined probably around 30 times now. You also have less stress on short cruises. If you are on a 3 or 4 night itinerary, a low-friction beach day lets you maximize your time without burning that mental energy trying to figure things out in port. Accessibility is a big benefit. For people with mobility challenges or little kids, not having to navigate unknown sidewalks, bus stops, or long pier walks is a big deal. Weather backup is also important because private islands often have covered areas, pools as alternatives to the beach if the beach is too rough, and multiple zones so you're not stuck in the weather that's not perfect. They also have less port shopping pressure because you're not herded into jewelry stores or touristy areas just to walk through wherever it is you're going. You can just relax, and if your priority is a guaranteed good beach day with minimal planning, private islands deliver just that. Now we have Team Traditional ports, and the arguments here are just as strong. So first of all, authenticity and memories. You have local street food, markets, you have guides, you have architecture, language, music. Their list goes on. This is the texture of travel that you cannot get at a curated resort. For many of us, those unexpected moments become the core memories. And supporting local economies is also important for many people because your dollars go to the tour operator, the market vendor, the cafe that is run by a family. And it matters economically and ethically. When you spend money at a private island, most of it goes back to the cruise line. When you spend money in port, it stays with the local community. Variety beyond just another beach day, because not every Caribbean or Bahamas stop needs to be sand and pool. You can explore ancient ruins, go on hikes, go snorkeling with local operators, cultural tours, or just wander a seaside town and just let the day unfold. More affordable options. In many traditional ports, you can find beautiful beaches, great food, and fun activities for a fraction of what you would pay at a premium beach club. A local beach bar, a $10 taxi ride, maybe $15 lunch can give you an incredible day. Then you have freedom and flexibility because you're not on a cruise line schedule, so you can explore at your own pace, change plans on the fly, and discover some hidden gems that aren't on any official tour. For anybody who is worried about logistics or safety, you want to do some research. You want to book only vetted local tours, stick to well-known transportation options, and definitely plan some buffer time to get back to the ship. With that basic plan, traditional ports are incredibly rewarding. Now, let's be real, neither one of the options is perfect, right? So let's say you make a wrong choice. Let's talk about what's the worst case scenario that can happen. Well, here's what can go wrong with the private islands. You get off the ship, excited for your beach day, and there are two mega ships docked. And let's say it's Icon of the Seas and Star of the Seas. And that's over 10,000 people on one island, potentially. Not everybody's going to get off, of course. But you walk out there and beach areas are just crowded. And the only available spots are premium cabanas that cost $400 and more. And because it's a private island, there is nowhere else you can go. You're stuck there. So that's why I do always check how many ships are visiting the port day before I decide what we want to do for the day. Now, traditional ports, well, they have their share of potential problems too. Worst case scenario, let's look at that. You get off the ship, you take the taxi to the beach that you found online, and when you get there, it's nothing like the photos. The beach is dirty, you have seaweed everywhere, you can't even get in the water, the facilities are run down, and the bar is selling warm beer. You're uncomfortable, so you decide to leave. By the way, how do I know this? All of these happen to us. And now you're struggling to find another taxi, so you're sweating, stressed, you're praying you're gonna make it back before the ship leaves. And that's why you always want to plan out your port days. Now, of course, again, this is extreme case scenario. It doesn't happen all the time, but yes, both sides have risks and they have negatives. So the question is, which risks are you most comfortable managing? But let's address the elephant in the room, and that is incentive. Why are cruise lines prioritizing the private destinations over traditional ports? Of course, the biggest one is revenue. On private islands and beach clubs, more of what you spend stays with the cruise line. And we're talking about drinks, cabanas, food, beverage, paid activities, rather than third parties in port. It's predictable guest satisfaction because private islands let the cruise line control cleanliness and staffing and service standards. That cuts down on the bad port day experiences that might hurt reviews. Now, the new kid on the block are the paid beach clubs from the cruise lines. And these are more that resort day versus the island day. And this is where you can expect premium pricing. They're often $150 to $200 per adult at peak for elevated clubs like Nassau, which gets you curated food, same things that you normally get on their other island. Premium lounges, upgraded pools, quieter vibe or loud vibe, whatever you want, without the do-it-yourself hassle. So is it worth it? Well, it's going to depend on your time value, mobility needs, crowd tolerance, and your expectations for food and drink. And if you want resort-style quality day without the guesswork, and you just value that convenience, it can be a win. If you're comfortable going on your own to another local resort or a beautiful beach club for less money, I would say then skip it. And watch my video that I'll link here in the description about the Royal Beach Club Nassau. We were there within a few days of opening, and for us, I felt like it was convenient, but I don't think we're going back again. I think there are other alternatives that probably cost less, and we can get more than what we got there. But again, some people love it. So definitely check it out to see if that's something that you would enjoy or not. Now let's talk about short cruises, because this trend makes private days even more likely. Utopia of the Seas launched exclusively on 3 and 4 night itineraries, and it worked. The ultimate weekend model was validated, and we sailed on it, and it was phenomenal. Short escape. Now we did do back-to-back because we wanted to be there for a week. But as a result of that, more Oasis class ships are now rotating into those short runs. We just got off a couple months ago from Wonder of the Seas, and it's a beautiful Oasis class ship that's also doing just 3 and 4 day Bahamas stretches. So for those who cannot take off a full week off work, it's great that you can have that 3 to 4 day Bahamas experience in a short cruise. So how does this play into the private island discussion? Well, short itineraries often weigh towards those low friction port days, private islands, curated beach clubs, because there's less time to navigate all the logistics of traditional ports. So you'll see that most short cruises pretty much on every cruise line are going to stop in 2 places, and that's Nassau and one of their private islands. By the way, let me know, what side are you on? Are you team private island, or are you all for traditional ports? And let me know why. And if you're enjoying this video, give it a thumbs up to let me know. All right, here's the framework for choosing that I promised. And this is how we help our clients choose the right itinerary. So step 1 is going to be defining your priority. And the question is, do you want relaxation with 0 stress? Well, then private island all the way. Do you want culture, food, and exploration? Then go to traditional ports. Do you want a mix? Well, then you want to look at itineraries that have both good private islands that you're interested in and the traditional ports that you actually want to get off the ship in. Now, step 2 is consider your travel style. If you're traveling with kids or older parents, private islands, they win for logistics and safety. Traveling as a couple or solo and you love that adventure, definitely go to traditional ports because they'll give you more freedom and variety to do whatever it is you really want to. If you're budget conscious, well, this is where you have to do the math, because traditional ports often have more affordable options, but by the time you add it all up, it might end up being more expensive if you count all the things like taxis and tours. Next step is look at the specific stops. Not all private islands are created equal. You have some, like Coco Cay or Celebration Key, that are they have everything included. And then you have some that are they'll just provide you a nice beach day. Of course, not all traditional ports are created equal either, because some are walkable and safe, and others are going to require a lot more planning to get the most out of it. Next step, check what's included. Does your drink package work at the private island? Does the Wi-Fi work? Are there free activities, or everything is going to include an upcharge? In traditional ports, what are the taxi costs? Are there free beaches nearby? What is the port layout like? Can you even do anything in port, or is it just shops and you have to go anywhere, somewhere to do anything interesting? My personal preference is mix and match. I love to have at least one private beach day, and that's your convenient day. You don't have to think about it. It's ready, it's included. And then to have 1 or 2 ports, traditional ports, for that culture and variety. That way you get the best of both worlds. And if you're still not sure and you want some help picking an itinerary, reach out to us. I'll drop our contact information in the description. We can definitely help you try to come up with the best solution and best itinerary for your style. If you are planning a short cruise and want to squeeze every drop out of those 3-4 days, then watch my next video here on how to maximize short cruises. It will save you some time and money. And if you're considering Royal Beach Club in Nassau, I'll link my full hands-on review here so you can see exactly what you get to decide if you want to book it. Thank you for watching.